Opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not WSTU. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
The Treasure Coast longest running local talk radio show is on the air. The Treasure Coast Forum. Get interested, get educated, get involved, and give us a call with your opinions at 220-9788. And here's your host of the Treasure Coast Forum.
Good afternoon. I am Jamie, and you're listening to WSCU 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
Right.
I am here with Adrian Wolf, Darlene Van Riper, and Mr. Frank.
Righto.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah. Very good.
Good.
And
they're from Martin County's Tax Collection Association.
That's correct.
Tax collectors.
Yes. Very good. So what's going on in high school right now?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Eric. Wolf.
Yes. Adrian is one of the people I wrote down I was going to talk about. Excuse me.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, sorry. Eric Wolf.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Very good. Welcome aboard, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. So before we go to our guests, just fill us in what's going on at South Fork. How was last week's football game? Didn't go too well.
Yeah. No, and it was against County, I believe, or no, or
was it last week? Last week I think they played St. Lucie.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I wasn't too filled in on that because I did do some work.
Oh yeah,
but...
yeah. I had to produce that show from here. It was oof. That was tough.
Yeah.
Tough. But anyways,
we don't have the best.
It's all right. They showed up. They
Yep.
worked hard for the school, and
we're always improving.
Yes.
Yep. And actually, homecoming is this Saturday for us.
Very good.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So
you're going to be doing anything with homecoming?
I'm going to be attending homecoming with some of my friends.
Well, good.
Yes.
Good to support your school. Very good.
Very good. Yeah.
All right. So take it away, Darlene.
Hi
there. How are you?
Good. Thanks. So I'm Darlene Van Riper with the Martin County Taxpayers Association. Okay. We do not have any affiliation with the tax collector at all.
No.
Okay. We're actually a 501c3 nonprofit, and we have been in existence since 1950. So we are the
older
oldest.
than I am.
I know. Isn't that
very
refreshing?
Few things. Yeah,
Isn't that refreshing? Yeah.
Yes.
So we work on volunteers. We need writers and researchers and people to observe county meetings. You know, there's like 40 meetings in the county that are open to the public every month. And, we need to be watching because transparency in government, which is what MCTA, Martin County Taxpayers Association, is all about. If we're not watching, and they know we're not watching, and I know, especially in a small county like Martin County, they're all our neighbors. We elect really our neighbors and friends to govern us. And so we all think, well, we know them, they're neighbors and friends, and so we have no problem issue, but don't have to worry. But a lot of times they will begin to think that their vision of the county, regardless of what our vision of the county, you don't need you to forget your constituents and that their opinions still do matter. So transparency is why we exist. It's what we're all about. And with no newspaper to speak of, I can remember when the Stuart News actually used to send a reporter to the Board of County Commission meetings.
Yes.
They don't do that anymore. And they might watch online, but, they don't report some of the stuff. We have, Martin County Taxpayers Association has a monthly newsletter. You can go right to mctaxpayers.org and subscribe to that monthly newsletter. And it's very short and sweet. We just take out maybe 2 or 3 things that are pertinent and that have just happened, of significance that we think you should know about amongst the independent taxing authorities that you'll find on your trim notice. The Board of County Commissioners, the school board, the South Florida Water Management District, Children's Service Council, and we just let you know what's happening with your tax dollars.
Right.
And the newspapers, like I said, do not tell the story that we tell. So we hope that you will go to our website and sign up for that newsletter. It's free.
It's free.
It's free. It's for me, right?
That's right. That's my motto. Yes. Very good.
So today, if you want me to introduce the subject matter, okay. So today, we've been alerted to a program that the CRA, which is the Community Redevelopment Agency, and for people that don't know what that is, it is supposed to be driven by what are called by the NACs. NAC is an acronym for Neighborhood Action Committee, and that is just really a beautiful thing because it is the
Keeps everything
neighbors.
local.
Yeah, it's the neighbors that come together, and there are 5 CRAs in Martin County: Hobe Sound, Rio, Port Salerno, Palm City. Yeah,
Golden
and
Gate.
Indian Town, Golden Gate.
Golden Gate.
Yeah. So these NACs, the Neighborhood Action Committee members, they sit down once a month. They discuss, where's our potholes? What's our vision for our section of Martin County? And so then there are funds that are collected. They're called TIF funds, taxation investment funds.
Tax increment financing.
That's right. Thank you, Frank.
Yes.
And so many acronyms,
Yes.
so little time. So these are funds that are collected from the businesses and the homeowners within that CRA area.
It has to be voted in. It has to be
Yes.
agreed to. It
Yes.
just doesn't happen.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. So it's a bottom up, it's a true grassroots thing. And the program that the director of the CRA has suggested to us seems a little top down. And so what she has suggested is that they now, as she said, the CRA needs to go to the next level. Well, does that mean it's finished its work? I mean, and so and by the way, Martin County Taxpayers Association is completely behind the idea of a CRA. And we think it's a very good program to have. But if it's gone to the second, if it needs to go to the next level, then what is the next level? Well, she's suggesting the next level is that they give TIF money to private businesses, okay, to do things like paint the outside of their building, put up a nice awning, enclose their dumpsters, that sort of thing. And as Eric Wolf, who's also
Beautification.
as Eric Wolf, who's also on our observation committee for the Martin County Taxpayers Association, has discovered. He read the statutes. Eric, what did you find?
Well, first, yes, thank you. Good to be here.
Good to have you.
The community redevelopment agencies are set up under Florida statutes. Federal law allows Florida to set up something like community redevelopment agencies, and they set up very defined areas. For instance, Palm City, it's not the whole Palm City. It's an area, usually the downtown area, areas that have been considered in less than favorable condition. Some might say blighted, but I'm not pointing any fingers in any areas. But there are areas that really need to be
improvement.
Oh, yeah. And with the idea that with improvement, more people will come to these areas and take part in it. So, in Rio.
And the other side of the coin is that when you do the improvement, the tax values go up.
Exactly.
So whatever money is spent in TIF money comes back into the community.
A certain the percentage of increase that happens does go back in, and it's kind of I don't know, earmarked would be the right word, but it's reserved for the use of that area.
Right.
Now, the community redevelopment agencies are defined in the Florida statutes, and statute 163, and in section 335, it sets out the purposes for community redevelopment agencies. And about 20 years ago, we set up 6 of them. I think we have 6 right now. And they're defined in the statute as for a public benefit rather than for individual business benefit. So it actually, in the wording that it has, it talks about roads, traffic patterns, sidewalks, transportation, parking, drainage, things that affect the community or the area as a whole, not just one business. And it's pretty clear then that it's for a public rather than an individual or an individual business benefit. And I think that's where we have they've done some wonderful things.
Right.
All of the NACs, the neighborhood action committees, have
Right.
done great things with
Well,
the
and
CRAs.
they just don't write checks. Now you have to
Yeah.
fill out an application.
And
You have
that's
to-
where
and there's a big checklist.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You have to be approved for the funds, and it's generally a 50-50. It's like a matching grant. It's or some mechanism like that.
well, the county has the Office of Community Development.
Right.
That's a county organization, department that is set up to manage the CRA
Right.
and the different CRAs. And yeah, and when a project is suggested, then it's researched. The county staff will research it. And when it comes down to it, they will put projects out to bid.
Right.
So various projects. So yes, it has to go through all the vetting process.
Correct.
Right. And it often takes a while to go through that, years even.
Right. Well, in those years, they're collecting those TIF
The funds are accumulating.
So for our
Mhm.
listeners, how the TIF works is they create a ceiling once they approve for TIF funding, and then any amounts collected above that ceiling get put into the TIF fund. And then they accumulate those funds for a few years, and then they've got some money to spend.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
so it takes, so that's why, and then they do charrettes, or they'll have different meetings for what the design ideas are and what are they going to cost,
With
requests for
input
bids.
from the local
Mhm.
neighborhood.
Right.
Mhm.
And get that whole, so that's the whole thought process behind it.
Mhm.
So it's not like they're just sending out blank checks. And there's going to be a fixed amount of money in that TIF fund
Mhm.
for that area, and it gets spent maybe amongst 3 people, 6 people, 8 people. So the amount of money that'll get spent is just a divisible amount of what's been collected.
And so, Frank, we're not talking about a ton of money.
Right.
We're talking about probably $100,000 a year, but everything adds up. And, there are some philosophical issues. And again, you have experience with the city of Stewart did this successfully. However, we don't know, and I have requested more information, okay, as to whether it's merit-based. I know for me, if I owned a ma and pa store and I'm struggling and I've just spent, $20,000 to paint my building, and then the guy next door who's been there for years, but he's lazy or he's cheap and he's a multimillionaire and he applies for this. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
So
not
you
real
snooze,
happy
you
about
lose.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
so it's you have to pay attention. If you're in business, you have to know. You have to go to the meetings. You have to.
And that's a big problem.
That's how I found out about it.
And that's a great segue because
Right.
that's another issue I have. And that's a big issue I have with it. Unfortunately, not a lot of people do attend these NAC. They're monthly meetings.
Right.
I attend. I'm not even in a CRA, but I attend because I get to know my neighbors. I get to know what's new going on in Hobe Sound, which is where I live. That's the one I go to. But I get the feeling that after this, and this, by the way, program is going to be voted on by the Board of County Commissioners on November 15th. So if you are a
Coming up.
business owner or even a person that resides in the CRAs, you might want to attend that meeting. So what the, I just lost my
So the
train- oh,
business investment plan is what's going to be voted on. Yeah. And again, the issue we have is with a CRA designed for public benefit. Now this business investment plan, which is what now is seen as the next step. Well, there is no next step in the Florida statute. It is what it's defined to be. But now it's suggests that we need, or we're ready because we have extra money, go to the next step. And what is the next step? They say, well, it's saying, oh, this business needs to be repainted, or this business needs a new roof, or this business needs to have an enclosure around a dumpster, something like that that benefits the individual business it's what the individual business is really responsible for maintaining their property
Right.
rather than taking care of a sidewalk. You know, these CRAs have done wonderful work, you know, old Map Road in old Palm City and the Rio area, the Golden Gate area has just been redone. Bridge Road in Hope Sound has just been redone. But for instance, in Hope Sound, we would like to go down Dixie Highway, which is the other angle of our downtown area. So we've got projects to do down there. This business investment plan we feel is wrong-headed because it is really usurping what the purpose of the CRA is for.
And now
and
in
it
this,
could just be a matter of cleaning up the way the statute is written too. It's just cleaning up the verbiage, you know.
well, that's kind of the dog wagging the tail
Right.
wagging the
Well,
dog, isn't it? Yeah.
But
Yeah. But right now businesses are facing inflation.
right.
They're facing a shortage of supplies, a
Right.
shortage of staff.
Right.
So is this the right thing at the right time to be doing? We don't really think so. I mean, it's kind of creative bureaucracy, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I follow you on that because it could be, an organization trying to justify its existence. It's almost what it seems like what you're saying.
Yes.
So I get that on a certain level. Myself personally, what I see, if a business is getting an opportunity to receive TIF funds from a CRA, and they're putting it in their facade, and it's, in fact, with City of Stewart, it's called Facade Improvement Program. It was very, very specific.
Mhm.
And so, the tax value of the property goes up.
Sure.
So no money is really.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah. Because the property, I mean, when I purchased the property, I purchased it for $262,000, I think. And it was half a city block on US 1. And if you turn around, you can actually see part of my building.
Mm-hmm.
And I sold it for $860. It was supposed to be 880. Guy took 20K off the table, but 880 is what we agreed to sell it for a few years later. And so Martin County, City of Stewart, everybody did well.
Well, yeah.
And, Frank a little bit.
Okay, but
Yeah.
back to the philosophical. I mean, there just needs to be a lot of questions answered
And it was
before
it was a small amount of money, by the way. It was like about, I want to say, God, it was many years ago. It was maybe about 6,000, of which I had to put in 3.
Right. Well, and we don't know if it's
Yeah.
going to work this way.
Right.
I mean, that was City of Stewart rules. We don't know if this county, again, I
Yeah.
have asked for more information, but the clock is ticking and they're going to vote on this November 15th. And I was at the chamber in Hope Sound today, and I said to the executive director of the chamber, I said, can you get the word out on this? Because again, 6 people showed up at that NAC meeting.
Right.
And I guarantee that the county is going to have a marketing plan that once it's voted on, well, then every business is going to know these dollars are available.
Mhm.
And again, Martin County Taxpayers Association is about transparency. It's not up to us to say whether you should have this program or not have this program. But I feel that not enough people know about this program to be able to make an informed decision about it.
The issue with this too is that it brings our county government into the making winners and losers.
Mm.
They get to decide, okay, we can give you so much of the money, or not, but we're not going to give him some money.
Right.
Hey,
everybody has to go through an application process, and
Right.
it's a very strict vetting process.
Mhm.
Well, that was in the City of Stewart, Frank. We
right.
don't know what it's
And
going
I
to be.
think I got to believe, because it's government structured, that the the city of Stewart didn't develop the paperwork.
Mhm.
I'm sure that it's already baked into the
Standardized.
cake.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, again, transparency. We need
Right.
to see that. We need to
Right.
know if it's merit. So, for instance, if they pay $1,000 and you put in $1,000 to put a nice awning
Right.
on the front of your building, and a storm comes by and blows the awning away, well, you know that wasn't insured because it's an awning outside. It's not going to be insured. So then, are they going to come back and put another awning on?
No.
You know,
No, I mean
there's
it's a one-time grant.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
one-time grant.
yeah.
And how you use it is how you use it. And as long as it's approved for that use, that's it.
It can be leaseors as well. It's not just or is we leasees, people that lease. Okay.
Leasing.
So it doesn't have to be the owner
Mhm.
of the building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
So then the question is it government, is it our county
Mhm.
that should be responsible for cleaning up individual businesses? And
Well,
that's where
it's a leadership
that's
thing.
the-
I think mostly I got to believe just to kind of, suggest, here's a fun way we can help you clean up your community. We can give you a little nudge, a little helping hand. And maybe because what happens is that you clean up your building, your city street, and then your next door neighbor says, maybe I should be getting proactive and doing some cleanup, fix up of my own, because I want to look good too.
One would hope.
Well, but and it kind of spurs that on, and that I think that is the fervent hope, and generally it does work. The city of Stewart's good testament to that.
You know, with Ian that just hit the
Mm.
West Coast, I think, and I heard today that the insurance backing citizens and is going to actually take most of the reserve money. We've got, I think, I don't remember how many, like $12 billion in reserve in the state of Florida right now. So I'm just thinking, would it be better served to put this money into some sort of an emergency fund for these areas? Because, I mean, I don't know if you remember Dorian, but it sat right outside of Hobe Sound, terrifying me for at least 2 days.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if what happened
Yeah.
on the West Coast happened here, these businesses are going to need emergency money.
Right.
And to me, it would be great to have some kind of a reserve like that instead of,
Mm.
this program.
Right.
which it can be used for this. So the question is, are there other means to help individual businesses or to suggest? And we have chambers of commerce
Mhm.
and we have the business development board. So there's other more semi-private leased organizations that can help out with individual businesses. I'm not saying fund money to them, but to assist them in some way to get that done rather than the government, which is stewardship of our taxpayer dollars.
Right. Interesting. Okay. That being said, that's going to take us to our first break. And we thank you for listening. And we'll be right back. So stick with us.
Thank you for staying with us. If you just tuned in, I am here with Eric Wolf from Martin County's Taxpayers Association and Mr. Frank.
Yes, indeedy. We are
Alright.
back.
Yep. So there's some.
So you have some further or follow-up thoughts, Eric?
We did talk about the business investment plan, which is is scheduled to go up to the Board of County Commissioners on November 15th. And we
Mhm.
hope that people can find out about that and attend that meeting
Mhm.
to have their voices heard, because it is, it's something that's going to be very important for the county, and the county commissioners need to know how people feel about it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, and it's not something that's been talked about, so people don't know about it yet. So we like to take care of it, promote it in that way.
Yeah. Anything else the Martin County Taxpayer Association is involved in right now?
We're we're also looking at, we also have a concern about affordable housing getting
Oh, yeah.
unaffordable.
Mm.
And what are we doing in that regard, and what's our thought on that? At a recent meeting, one of the administrators said, well, there's a cost increase, so we'll go ahead and pay it. And well, why would we pay it? Well, we've got the money. And for us at Martin County taxpayers, it doesn't seem like a good enough reason that we have money. It's essential that we have money, right? But the question is it the right use of our taxpayer funds? This taxpayer, we shouldn't take taxpayers for granted.
Right. It's not it's not an endless well that you can go dipping into.
Well,
Yeah.
And sometimes the bureaucracy, like you talked about before, I believe that, sometimes they're in it to make sure that they stay employed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it seems like their most difficult problem is when they run out of other people's money.
Fair enough. All right. Very good.
Right. Okay.
And what do you got going on, Jamie?
So one technology that I found, or an article today that I found interesting, was this type of technology that you put on your feet. It's roller skates without doing the work of rollerblading. So these footwear kind of act as if you're in an airplane terminal. You know how those, how they have those escalators, right?
Right, the walking or the moving sidewalks. Yes.
Right,
Mhm.
perfect, yes. So this, I'll get into the technology a little bit, but this type of technology was developed by a group of robotic engineers from Carnegie Mellon University.
All right.
So after they graduated, this person named Shinji, if I'm pronouncing that correctly,
Okay.
hopefully, excuse me if I don't, but they started a company called Shift Robots once they kind of graduated from Carnegie. And right now they're doing I think it's a Kickstarter, I believe, right?
Okay.
And to kind of, show the product and see what we're working with and stuff like that. So the company started, like the little background of it, of Shinji. He's the person who kind of made this group of robotic engineers. So the company started with when Shinji almost got hit by a car while scootering on his way to work, because he didn't want to drive, or there's too much traffic where he lives, right?
Right.
So his work is a mile away, and the solution to that would be, think you would walk, right, or ride a bicycle or something. So so that was one solution, but we know we are right. So what he wanted to do was he wanted to kind of like enhance walking a bit, the simple task that humans have always been developed to do.
Right.
So we know that these days people have been trying to be more fuel efficient and taking like walking, biking, whatever, or electric cars, stuff like that, which could be arguably less better for the environment.
Right.
However,
Right.
healthier environment. And so that just might mean taking a few steps back and going what we were meant to do and walking. So that's what his idea was. So what he wanted to do was enhance walking And his kind of like motto is it's safe and healthy, but it's also time consuming.
Right.
So So what he wanted to do with his panel of engineers that he gathered was enhance it. So he took the technology of what's in a electric car, kind of like with batteries and stuff like that, to put to like to fit anyone's shoes and put it on their feet. And the technology, it's kind of like a hoverboard, but like individual shoes, like a strap shoe,
Okay.
right? And so you walk, and when you walk, you're kind of propelled forward, and it has like this bendable technology that, when your toes kind of divot in the road, it kind of flexes with your feet. So that is something I found pretty interesting, and yeah, pretty much that, and pretty much yeah.
All right. So it's
it
just
kind of caught my eye.
increases your gait, increases your speed of walking.
Right. Yeah. So
Right.
about 250 times faster. Like 2.5, 250%. Excuse
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
That's pretty
it is
interesting.
pretty interesting. And it took 5 years to develop. It was in the making. And yeah, so far, one pair. So what I also found interesting was like the normal kind of one wheel. Have you heard of that? The kind of skateboard with one wheel.
Yes.
The electric one, right?
Right.
So those go anywhere from like maybe 1,100 to 1,600.
Wow.
Right? And this is like in the range. It starts for $13.99 for the
base model.
they're called Moonwalkers. Yes, exactly. They're called Moonwalkers, and the company that made it was Shift Robotics, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Right.
Nice.
So, yeah, not too terrible considering many.
Well, I guess cheaper than a car.
yeah, and almost more expensive than I found, but
Yeah. Wow.
And it could go from 5 to 7 miles. So what their idea kind of was in the city,
Mhm.
instead of using like motorcycle or like scooter stuff like that. Use this. It's kind of a good way to get exercise because you're standing up, you're walking, stuff
Right.
like
You're
that.
still ambulatory, moving around. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, very cool.
Yeah.
And you found that article where?
I found it on, I think, Google News.
Okay.
Yeah, so
right.
I downloaded that just scrolling through.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Excellent.
And do you have anything you would like to share today, or I have also another thing?
One more item, and then one more. We got time for one more item. Go to break, and then we'll finish up with Eric.
All right. So, as this title was subtitles, Ed Sheeran hacker finally put in jail. So,
Whoa.
So, like, or something like that, or along the lines. So basically, this person, Adrian K, and I didn't really know how to pronounce his last name, so Adrian K, he traded music by Ed Sheeran in exchange for cryptocurrency. So this is what he did.
He stole music that belonged to somebody else.
Yes.
And then
he traded it.
Right. Okay.
On the dark web. Right. So this 23-year-old, he got a hold of the performers' digital accounts, and he's actually did this with more performers such as Kanye West and Frank Ocean and all these. So he's pretty much all across the board, and this is
what he does.
This is what he does, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And actually, one of the interesting things was that one of his like mentors or teachers or some people that knew him knew that he was this talented, like incredible person who was incredibly talented person who like knew computers inside and out and just knew how to code and stuff like that. So they're very disappointed to find that he used his skills for this
nefarious
type of stuff.
means. Okay.
Right.
Yes,
yeah.
Okay.
But
and he got some jail time. They caught him.
Yep. They caught him. The investigation gone on for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when numerous artists in New York started to kind of like come forward and say, "Hey, this person's stealing my music," or "I realize this," right? That's when the investigation started, and it took a year to find this person. That seems like a long time, especially because he could be trading a lot during that time. And
right.
Yeah, that is very scary to me.
Right.
Because
justice does not always move as far as collecting information. You have to make sure that it's all fact-based and you've done your homework, all the research, and that all the facts that you present to the judge
True.
and the jury are indisputable or difficult to argue against, right? It won't get thrown out. So
True.
yeah, so that's why it takes a long time, because they just can't
Very
say.
true.
Now, otherwise it's just allegations.
Right. Yeah, take all that evidence. That's
Right.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, his username was Spurdark.
Hmm.
And yeah, how they found him was they linked his email to they linked his email to set up Spurdark on cryptocurrency to his account,
Right.
and the name Adrian popped up.
There
So
it
yeah,
is.
he got 19 charges, and including copyright, possession of criminal property, etc., etc.
Right. Copyright theft.
Yes.
Yes.
Theft.
And yes. And so he got 18 months in jail, and hopefully he's
Yeah.
well,
He's 23.
yeah.
That is very young.
Yeah, so he's got plenty of time to
Right. Rethink. And just,
rethink things, and probably he'll say, yeah, maybe I can use my skills in a better community-minded manner.
Right. Right.
For fun and profit, and still make money.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
don't steal from other people. That's all. Yeah, that seems
Wow.
fair. All right. Well, let's see if look at this. So my computer's froze up. What is going on with this thing? All right. We'll let there we
And
go.
the fact that he was 23 and able to do this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just
I'm
very talented.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
infamously talented. There we
Too
go.
much time just playing on the computers in his room, right?
Yep,
Yes,
possibly.
yes. Okay. All right. Well, let's see if we can. There it is.
And now,
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Hello. All right, we are back from our second break, and Mr. Eric Wolf.
Yes, indeed. And what else do you want to cover, Mr. Wolf?
I want to highlight again about Martin County Taxpayers
Okay.
Association because we see ourselves as a watchdog. We're watching what's going on with taxpayers' money. And there's a lot of great things that are being done here too,
Mhm.
and we really appreciate that. We've got a great county here in Martin County, but you still want to watch what's going on, and
Right.
every once in a while you find something. Hey, can we do that better, or does it really need to be done, or so that's what we're for. But we educate.
Right.
Not everybody can go to every meeting. It's good to go to meetings, but we try to cover as many meetings of the different commissions and agencies as possible. And then, we just want, and sometimes there's something to say about it, sometimes not. But you go to our website at mctaxpayers.org. That's mctaxpayers.org. And you can read newsletters there. You can sign up to have the newsletter emailed. Right. So it's an email newsletter and online. And we talk about the different issues that you might be interested in
Mhm.
that affect the money that we pay
Right.
in our taxes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Also, if you want to talk to us in person too, Darlene says give you her telephone number. So you can call Darlene at area 772-285-7447. So that's Darlene, 772-285-7447.
and she's the executive director.
She's the executive director for the Martin County Taxpayers.
Man, and how many years has she been doing that? A while now, right?
Well, the taxpayers have been around for 72 years. I don't think she's been that long.
No, but she's been around for.
No, she's been
yeah.
she's been a leader here in the community for a number of years.
Yeah.
In various capacities,
Right.
right? Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Very nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Right.
All right. Yeah. and
Okay.
All right. Well, good. That's good. Remember last week, we talked about this thing that I called. It was called. It's through there's a gentleman by the name of Simon Whistler, and he hosts a show on YouTube called Mega Projects.
Okay.
He has several different channels that he does, but Mega Projects is one of them. And he made a feature out of one recently called Breakthrough Starshot. And the whole notion was to be able to send probes at a fifth of the speed of light to a neighboring star.
Mhm.
Right? Because the problem is to get to a neighboring star, it would take tens of thousands of years for us to do it. And by the time, something we sent there got there, even if it did get there,
Yeah.
there would be nobody here to receive the answer, or we wouldn't understand the answer once the signal was sent back. So that would be a problem. So the idea is to speed it up somehow, right?
Mhm.
And so they came up with this idea that they were going to have these little miniature solar sails and then propel them using laser light to get them up to the
Okay.
1/5 the speed of light. And so we would send a batch, like a swarm,
Mhm.
right? And then wait a little while and send another batch and then another batch and another batch. And then that way, as they get further and further down the road, down the line towards their destination, they become relay stations to send the signal back here. So 4.2 light years away becomes 20 years, which is
That's
doable for us.
That's better.
Right?
It's definitely better.
Yeah. And then it's like, and then they could take pictures or whatever they're little probes. There's not much they can do other than just send signals and receive signals and kind of let us know what's going on in another celestial, part of the universe, which is pretty amazing, you
Yeah.
know.
I heard recently that Apple is going to switch from the Lightning charger to USB-C.
Oh, really?
And yeah, that was
Wow.
recently. So yeah, I think actually, so the reason for that is actually, so what I found interesting was that now Apple is not going to have that part of their income because the Lightning charger was only exclusive for Apple.
Okay.
So don't really know why they would do that, but it was interesting.
They're trying to make it maybe a more universal, because I mean, I ended up buying a Google phone. I didn't know. I thought it was a Motorola, and it is Motorola,
Mhm.
but Google owns it.
Yeah.
And they use a different connector than the USB connector, the standard connector for Android phones. So it's like, and it looks a little bit, but not quite, like an Apple connector.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and I'm thinking that they're trying to standardize to make it just like one connector,
Yeah.
because I mean, I was at Seacoast today to do some banking, and while I was there, they have a little charging station, which is really delightful. And then, so they got the Apple posts there, and then they have the Android posts. And I looked at it and I go, well, I have my phone here, but none of those will work for me because I have part B3, it doesn't,
okay.
it's, so I could see that that's just going to get out of control. So I
Right.
think ultimately they're going to want to pick one,
Yeah, it would be more convenient
right?
just
would
to have
be nice.
universal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Betamax and the VHS.
Right.
You
Beta was
have-
actually a better product,
Yes, it was.
but
yeah.
it just didn't
Mhm.
get any traction.
And that's the thing that you have different competitive products or ideas out there, and you
Mhm.
let them fly, and whichever one gets picked up, then that's the way that particular industry would gravitate.
Right. Isn't that as fascinating? I
That's
know.
life.
Yes, it
Yes,
is,
that's
right?
life.
It's so true. So true indeed. Yeah. Yeah.
And this will be implemented. All phones will be they will be sold with a USB-C by the year 2024 is what the European regulators want to have happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So no more Lightning, I guess. Well, because also USB-C, I think that's better for transferring data. So it might be like slightly faster than the Lightning, which is another reason why it would be implemented rather than the Lightning.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
that's what I read today as well.
So Elon Musk now is, I guess, completing his purchase of Twitter. Have you heard anything more about that? I saw a video of him walking into the front door of their office carrying a kitchen sink. So I guess he owns everything, including the kitchen sink. Is that what that's supposed to suggest? What are you thinking?
Trying to remember how they put it, but it was cute.
It was, yeah. I'm sure there was some sort of, because he has a curious way of putting things. Yeah. But so there should be a lot more truth in communications. I'd like to hope, transparency. That'll be a good thing. I hope.
Yes.
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 I think that's what everybody's wishing for, right?
That's the promise. And that's
the promise to hope.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we haven't really discussed this on air, but over a year ago, I did a show with, John was here, Nono was here, and I was here. I don't know if you were here last year or not, but, and we talked about face masks. All right.
No, I wasn't here yet.
And it was part of it was a debate forum. And last year, John and everybody, there's kind of saying, we kind of think face masks are a pretty good idea and all that. And I'm thinking, not so much. I don't think so. But regardless of how I personally feel about it, I took the opposite perspective. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a debate format, a talk format, right?
And you wouldn't learn.
Right. And you have to prove your case.
Yes.
So, and so that was the conversation, and it was left at that. It was just a debate.
Right.
Google, YouTube, listened to that show last week, and I don't know if they do it through bots or with an algorithm or real
Mhm.
people, but they decided that it did not meet the community standards because for truthful information, and we got suspended for using YouTube here at the radio station for an entire week because of the show that I did.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
That's
very, very sad. Very sad.
and that was just debating ideas.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. All right. And no debate about this. We're going to be finishing up right now. So one more time, you give out your contact information, Eric.
Very good. And we thank you for having the Martin County taxpayers here, Darlene and myself. Go to the Martin County site at mctaxpayers.org.
All right. Very good.
mctaxpayers.org.
All right. And we're out of here. Thank you so much. See you next week.
Thanks for having us.